As I said, we have 3 broken windows, all the same, and the putty is still a little bit soft, and so I should be able to go at it with a chisel and get it all out. And let's see, I think that's going to work. Doing the narration afterwards here, yeah, so that works pretty well, and it comes out. I think I worked on this for just about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes to get all that putty out, so not so bad. Some parts are a little tougher than others, but it all pretty much comes out. And after getting pretty much all of it out, I put on my leather gloves to give it a try and see if that glass is loose enough to come out of there. And it's not. It's not going anywhere, still entirely too much. So work on it some more and see why the glass doesn't want to move. So another idea is I'm going to flip it over here, and maybe the varnish or the paint or whatever it is on the other side is just enough to keep the glass kind of glued in place. And so after flipping it, what I'm going to do is go along the seam with a single edge razor blade and see if I can cut the bond, assuming that that's actually what's really going on. So I'm going to go over that with a single edge razor blade, but then trying it again, it still doesn't want to move. So maybe go along this side with a single edge razor blade, and maybe I can just release it from whatever putty is remaining that's keeping it stuck down. So try that, and then go at it again here and see if it's going to come loose. You know, it seems like it should come loose, so let's see. And yeah, it is coming loose. So those big pieces came out, and I should be able now to pull out the rest of the pieces. The channel is still kind of a mess, but we'll get to that. And that piece is coming out also. There's a big piece of putty holding it, but it's going to come loose. So I'll clean up the channel some more, and channel looks pretty good. But now there are some metal pieces in the channel. These are called glazier's points, and that's what actually holds the glass in. So there's a bunch of those that have to be removed. And then I go after the channel with a wire brush, clean it up, and you can see in the video the channel looks really good. So time to measure, get the exact dimensions of the glass. There needs to be just a little bit of slop, but the channel is not very big, so you can't have too much slop. You have to be pretty accurate. And I got both of these dimensions. Actually, I did it in millimeters, and then I realized that when I went to the glass cutter's going to want inches, and so I redid the whole thing with my imperial ruler. A quick 2 miles to Ace Hardware for glass. Now I'm back with the glass. Now on to putting in the new glass. The first step is to check and make sure the glass is going to fit, and it does. So it comes back out, and we put that glass aside. And then I used an air hose to get all the dust out of the channel. And I coat the channel with boiled linseed oil. This keeps the linseed oil, which is one of the constituents of glazier's putty, from leaching out of the putty and drying it out. I got this out of a YouTube video, of course, like I got everything else. Then I put putty into the channel so that the glass sits down on a bead of putty, and we'll see that. My application of the putty is not very neat, but I can't be criticized for using too little, that's for sure. Now with all that putty there, I then put the glass in now permanently and push it down to squish the glass against the putty in the channel. This makes sure that there's putty on both sides of the glass, both the putty side, which is where I'm working, and the other side. So I want to push it down pretty firmly, but obviously I don't want to break the glass. And you can see as I push, it's going down into the channel, and I push it just about as far as I possibly can, going around until I get it. Next, I put glazier's points into the channel to hold the glass in place. And I figured out that the way to do that, pretty hard to manipulate with my hands full of putty, as you can see. But anyway, the way to do it is with a putty knife, and sometimes I can push the sharp point into the channel, and mostly I took to just hitting it with a light hammer, making sure that the force goes against the wood and not down onto the glass where it might chip the edge. Then I load up the channel with putty that will eventually get formed into a nice looking border, but it sure starts out pretty sloppy. You know, I did 3 windows, and as I went along, got a little better at this. I think this is the middle window. When I got to the 3rd, I had it sort of figured out. And this is typical for me, is that by the time the project is finished, I've learned how to do it. So I'm going to load this channel up with putty. And then I'm going to use this special tool that I bought, which is for glaziers. It's a special kind of putty knife, and it has a very interesting shape. Why it is shaped that way, I have no idea. It's got a curved piece, no idea what that's for. But what works well is that one of the edges is sharpened, and I found that if I keep cleaning the knife with a rag, it works much, much better. When the knife is full of putty, it just sticks and doesn't really help matters. So I kind of start this way, pulling the putty perpendicular to the channel, and gets a lot of it out of the way. And then I can pull the knife along the channel and clean that up and give it some shape, including in the corners. And so you can see that that mostly works pretty well. And then I got this idea to lubricate the knife with linseed oil, figuring, well, linseed oil is in the putty, so why not lubricate it with linseed oil and get a smoother edge? And that really worked well. I didn't see that in any YouTube video. I'm sure I didn't invent it. Or if I did invent it, I invented it for myself. But once I started started doing that, I got much better results. And you'll see as we go along here, and I cut the video, that there'll be a lot of linseed oil floating around, and to some degree even a shiny surface. So with the putty formed pretty well, I then go to the other side now. There's a lot of putty squeezed out. This side doesn't get any putty squeezed out at all, so it all has to go away. And I started with the knife to clean that up, and eventually just used a rag and mostly got it all away. As I progressed in my ability here, especially on the third window, I used the knife mostly, and I was really able to get almost all of it away here on the side. It's not supposed to have any putty. And finally, here on the second window, I went back to the putty side, and using the knife and a bunch of linseed oil, which you could see the kind of yellowish linseed oil all over the putty there. Boy, I started using more and more linseed oil to get a nicely shaped, smooth edge. Every time I reach like that, I'm dipping the knife into linseed oil. So you see what's happening there. That's really a really nice result. And I'm done touching it up and finished, and there it is. Complete new window. The glass itself is a mess. It's got linseed oil on it, putty, fingerprints from me, all sorts of other stuff. And that'll be cleaned up once the putty has a few days to skim over and get more stable. The frame, of course, is also messed up, not entirely from my work, but we're going to sand the frames a little bit and paint them, and so I'm not really worried about the frame right now. And I'll probably do a lot of the cleanup with a single-edged razor blade and maybe a little paint thinner, which I found works well cleaning up putty.